Ducati broke the cruiser mould when it launched the Diavel in 2010. You might say it smashed it to bits and that the result wasn't really a cruiser at all but a naked bike. But now Ducati's put the mould back together and had another go, and the result, the XDiavel, still isn't quite like a cruiser, at least not any I know. It makes 156 horsepower and 95 pounds-foot. It handles well, it stops really well, it's comfortable, and it's got a full electronics package including launch control, cornering ABS, traction control, riding modes and cruise control. Ducati's been using the phrase low speed excitement in its marketing for the XDiavel, but there wasn't much of that on the launch ride in California. It's got a thundering burst of torque from about 6,000 RPM to the red line at 9,000, and there's a powerful temptation to use that all the time, to always accelerate as hard as you can. Launch control seems unlikely on a cruiser, but I think I get it. Ducati is gunning for the US cruiser market with this. Now think of all those US films and TV shows that have featured grudge match drag races. It's a kind of pop culture fantasy. In a country of straight roads, the fastest straight line accelerating vehicle is the coolest. And launch control means it's still fast off the line even if you're not. It's not bad at cornering either, tipping in and out of leans quite easily considering its massive 240 section rear tyre. Ground clearance is excellent, maximum lean angle is 40 degrees according to Ducati, only 1 degree less than the Diavel's, which has centrally positioned pegs. Compare that to a Harley Fat Boy with a maximum lean angle of 27 degrees on the left and 26.2 on the right. The XDiavel feels more natural than many cruisers. Your feet aren't quite so far apart, the bars aren't such a reach away. I felt at home on it straight away, and I thought if this is a cruiser then I get it. The engine is Ducati's Testastretta V-twin, as used on the Multistrada 1200, but with capacity increased from 1198 to 1262 cc thanks to a longer stroke. That means it's got Ducati's variable valve timing aimed at maximising torque at both ends of the range. The engine sounds good, but it could be louder. The noise police seem to finally be getting to Ducati. The torque curve is interesting. It's got two peaks, the first of 95 pounds-foot at 5,000 RPM and the second, almost as big, at about 7,400 RPM. Given that so, the XDiavel didn't feel quite as strong in the low to mid-range as I might have expected. In fourth gear at about 40 miles an hour, with the rev counter just below 4,000 RPM, it picks up briskly, but not so you'd guess peak torque is only 1,000 RPM away, even in sport mode. There are 3 preset riding modes, with urban in addition to sport and touring. Each offers a different level of traction control, ABS and throttle response. Touring and urban provide cornering ABS, courtesy of a Bosch inertial measurement unit, which knows how far you're leaning over. It's designed to let you grab a handful of brake mid-corner without washing out or going straight on. Sport reverts to conventional ABS, only on the front wheel, and you can create a bespoke mode, choosing your own combination of settings. I also found that I had to be going quite fast to enjoy using the highest gears on the XDiavel in 6th at 60 miles an hour, which is about 3,500 RPM. The V-twin felt a bit laboured and chuggy when I opened the throttle. It seemed much happier and smoother in 4th with the revs a bit higher. But that was on winding roads when you want power on tap. On the freeway, whack it into cruise control and it feels completely at home at a constant 50 miles an hour in 6th. I think it's got two sides to its character really, the aggressive V-twin that makes you want to accelerate hard all the time, or the comfortable cruiser that makes you want to sit back and take in the scenery. There are 2 versions, the base model and the XDiavel S. Both have Brembo front brake calipers, but the S version has higher spec M50 monoblocks. The base models certainly aren't lacking, but there's more instant bite from the M50s. The S also has Bluetooth connectivity. Among other things, it can enable the TFT colour dash to alert you of incoming calls, possibly the last thing I'd want while I was riding it. There are also cosmetic differences. The S has gloss black paint to the base model's matte, and lots of machined aluminium bits where the base model doesn't, and they've got different wheels. The base model is 15,795 plus on the road charges, while the S is 18,395. That might seem like quite a lot either way for a mashed up Diavel, but that's not what this is. It shares no parts with the Diavel except for the brakes and Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2 tyres according to Ducati. It's got a longer wheelbase, it's got a lower seat, a longer rake and it's belt drive. It's a completely different bike. Traditional cruisers can be expensive too, and I think the XDiavel deserves to tempt some riders away from them. I also think it could be one of the first bikes that we can actually call a cruiser, but which also makes sense and is desirable to ordinary motorcyclists like me.